The receipt fluttered as the waitress picked it up, and for half a second, her heart stopped. $0. No tip. Just a neat signature from a billionaire whose watch alone was worth more than her yearly rent. Around her, the restaurant buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses, but she stood frozen, staring at the paper like it had just sentenced her. She swallowed hard, forced a smile, and reached under the plate to clear the table when her fingers brushed something thick and folded. Her breath caught, because whatever was hidden there wasn't meant for the manager. It was meant for her, and it was about to change everything. Maya Reyes had learned to move quietly through life. Quiet meant survival. Quiet meant no complaints when customers snapped their fingers. Quiet meant apologizing even when she was right. As a single mother of two, quiet was the price she paid to keep food on the table. Her nights were split between balancing trays and worrying about her kids asleep in a cold apartment. The heater broken again. She had learned how to stretch soup into 3 meals, how to turn broken toys into games, how to smile when her feet burned and her back screamed. But that night felt heavier. The man at table 12 hadn't been rude. That somehow made it worse. He spoke politely, barely looked at the menu, and ordered expensive items without hesitation. When she refilled his water, she noticed the way other servers glanced over, whispering. Everyone knew who he was. A tech billionaire. The kind of man whose decisions moved markets. When he finished, he nodded once, stood, and left without a word. Maya told herself not to expect anything. Expectations were dangerous. Still, when she saw the 0, something inside her cracked. She bent to clear the table, fingers trembling, and that's when she felt it. A thick envelope, tucked carefully beneath the plate, hidden from view. For a moment, she panicked. Was it a trick? A test? Her manager was already yelling at someone in the kitchen. Maya slid the envelope into her apron and finished her shift in a daze. At home, with her kids asleep beside her, she finally opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter and a check. The number on the check made her knees buckle. She read the letter 3 times before it made sense. The man wrote that he'd once believed generosity was measured in public gestures, donations, headlines, applause. But years ago, he'd ignored someone like her, and it had cost them everything. This time, he said, he wanted to do it quietly. No credit, no strings, just a chance. Maya didn't sleep that night. She didn't cash the check the next day, or the next. Not because she didn't need it, God. She did, but because she was afraid that if she did, it would disappear, like hope always did when she held it too tightly. Life didn't pause for miracles. The heater broke again. Her son got sick. The manager warned her she was late too often. Still, she kept the envelope folded in her bag, touching it sometimes like a promise. 3 weeks later, he came back. Same restaurant, same booth. Different man. No suit. No entourage. Just him. When Maya approached, her hand shook. She told him she hadn't cashed the check. He nodded, like he already knew. I wanted to see who you were, he said quietly. Money shows people their true face. Maya met his eyes for the first time. I already know who I am, she said. I just didn't want it to change me. That was when his expression softened. He asked her to sit. Against her instincts, she did. He listened, really listened. About the nights she skipped meals. About her daughter's asthma. About the job she lost years ago when she chose the hospital over a shift. He told her about the waitress he once ignored. How she vanished. How the guilt followed him longer than any failure. Kindness isn't loud, he said, his voice low. It's precise. He offered her more than money. Education, flexibility, childcare, a role at his foundation, not charity, but partnership. Maya cried in the parking lot that night, the kind of cry that empties years of silence, months passed. Slowly, her life changed. Not magically, not perfectly, but steadily. Her kids laughed more. She slept better. She learned how systems worked, and how they failed people like her. Then came the gala. She wore a borrowed dress, hands shaking as she entered a room full of people who had never worried about grocery prices. And that's when she saw her. The former manager, laughing, confident, untouchable. The man stepped on stage and spoke not of success, but of responsibility, of unseen labor, of dignity. And then he announced a new board appointment. He said Maya's name. The room froze. The manager's smile collapsed. But the story didn't end there. Maya didn't seek revenge. She sought change. Months later, she offered the manager a position lower, supervised, accountable, not out of cruelty, but conviction. Because the goal wasn't power, it was repair. Years later, Maya returned to that restaurant with her children. She left a tip under the plate. And a letter, because sometimes a $0 tip is the beginning of everything. If this story touched you, share where you're watching from in the comments. Stories like this remind us that humanity isn't bonnets, just waiting to be noticed. And somewhere tonight, someone is clearing a table, not knowing their life is about to change. Thanks for watching.